Oh my gosh. That transition was so much faster than I thought it would be. And I can be heard. Okay, probably, maybe. It seems like it. The little meter's moving on my thing. Welcome, welcome. If you're new here, welcome to the most inconsistent YouTube show that has ever existed. Uh, we got a lot to talk about. And save. Hold on. See, in spectacular fashion, Ableton Live decided, "Hey, I want to update right as soon as you know, want to like turn on the stream." It was like, "Guess what? I got to update. I got to update everything and crash your computer." And that was pretty cool, but now we're back and we're doing good. And yeah, you guys can't see this, but I have just this enormous uh, list of things to talk about. But I'm gonna do like a nice what do you call it? Like a tasty sandwich where we're gonna put a lot of good stuff right up at the top, and then we're gonna put a lot of drama, juicy poop in the middle, and then we're gonna put another good stuff on the bottom again. You know, it's like that. My coworker kept showing me these TikToks where this guy ordered like a bag of poop or like a poop sandwich or something, and like he wouldn't stop ordering. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about that. But that's what we're making, big old poop sandwich. Um, and we're gonna start. We're gonna start with first things first. Shouts out to fan of the channel, not fan of the channel, friend of the channel, uh, proper, because they got me the SR JV80 FX card, um, and I've been looking for that thing for a while. And you're hearing the SRJV just kind of thumping away out there in the background, and it's this thing sounds like a beast. Um, and I love it so very much. But now I've got the effects card, which is filled with fun and goofy things that we're gonna take a look at here in just a second. Um, so that's one thing right off the bat. I want to say thank you a lot because they got me a repro card, like a reproduction card, and what up? There he is in the chat. Um, and I didn't know those existed. I didn't know they were like reproduction cards. I've seen like the Wi-Fi cards and everything, but yeah, what's up, everybody else in the chat? I forgot to look over there in the chat. Um, but anyways, here I'll mute this, and we'll come over here, and I'm gonna switch over to this other set. And actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make a brand new project over here. Right? Okay. So we've got a brand new project. And you might already see up on the screen here, I've got this Ableton Live window. And let's make this external. Beautiful. Okay. So, this is Sting 2, this little plugin down here. And what this is like acid generating machine. And it's by like Ifta Gabai. I am probably not saying his name very well. But he's like one of the dudes who was like instrumental in making Ableton Live. I think he's like actually one of the founders. Um, I'm kind of just glazing over that because he makes a lot of cool stuff right now. He made the high frequency bird recording things that we listened to probably the last time. He also has made a ton of Max for Live devices. And one of the Max for Live devices that he has made is a really, really, really good 303 emulator. And then to go along with it, and I think that's called like something like really nice or something. Oh, don't you know I'm not good at remembering everything? Look, you can find his webpage. Actually, here, I'll just look it up because he deserves the credit. It's IFTAHGAB. If you type that in, you will most certainly find Ifta Gabai, Gabbai, and he's a really cool guy. Um, but if you go to his website, which is if-ta.com, you can go up to devices here. We'll switch over. We'll look at this thing real quick. And you can find Sting 2, which is what we're gonna look at, and Slippery Slope, which is it's a really nice acid synthesizer. And I've been using these two a lot because I've been really, really loving just acidy sounds lately, and I feel compelled to talk about them because they are pay what you can, pay what you want, and I mean I'm fairly broke at the moment, so I was not able to give him money, but I can give him maybe some recognition and also show off something cool. So that's what we're gonna do in lieu of being able to monetarily support him. So if you can do that, I would recommend that you do. Anyways, so this is Sting 2. It's very cool. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna turn this channel to channel 5, which is it's not, this is if you're new here. Here, we'll make this smaller because it's not as important. We'll maybe put it down here. So this is my Hapax, which is a sequencer. It's very fun. It's also a MIDI Swiss Army knife, which is also very fun. So right now, what I've got going on is I've got a USB cable, and it's going into my computer. And that is it's going to take this data right here, right? Let's take a look. Come here. I need to make this bigger because it doesn't want to show me this part. All right, so we're taking MIDI from this thing right here, and we're going into the Hapax, right? And that's a lot of fun. We like that a lot. So we're also externally synced up here, and I've got this other sound that's happening. And I think it's because we've got input all active on for all of these channels, and that's gonna take all of them. So we're gonna go ahead and, because we're gonna maybe be goofy, we're gonna maybe use this. So we're gonna go through all of these tracks and turn input off. You know, this is maybe an annoying thing that I should have thought of. I could have also just soloed track 2. I want it to be track 2. Just because. So then in track 2 here, I'm gonna make this channel 5 on the output, and it's gonna get input from the USB device on channel 1. And now when we hit play and turn up the audio, we hear a very juicy bass line, right? And oh, this is such a juicy bass line. And we've actually got a little bit of modulation going on here. So it's kind of updating every once in a while. Not that. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to grab this down here. So this is a pretty fun little acid pattern, if I do say so myself. I should probably give it some context. Let's go back and unmute that. Alright. Okay. That's a much better kick drum. Okay. This I gotta put a kick drum under it, you know me. Maybe you don't, I don't know. One of these should be, actually, how's that sound? That's a pretty good kick drum too, honestly. Kind of missing some low end. I like that one. Okay, anyway, sorry, I'm getting lost in the sauce here. Alright, so this is just going, right? This is cool, this is fun, it's going through. Boop, 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 boop. What's up, Cricketune? So what we've got going on here, if you're just tuning in, is it's a very fun little acid sequencer, and it's what's so fun and why this sounds so good is because this acid sequencer is sending out all of the slides and the accents, and it's also sending out, you know, like accurate velocity data, so on and so forth. And the synthesizer that is plugged into via MIDI right here, boop, 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 is the JV2080. And the JV2080's just got like a good TB303. That's just the name of the patch that I'm it's just like TB303 emulation, essentially. And so it's already programmed to just act just like really well and nicely like a 303 sound. So that's rockin' awesome. And you could probably do this with just about anything that's got a MIDI in and through and like a USB thing, right? If you want to send the audio through and then like boop boop boop, it's like, okay, that's cool, right? But it's kind of annoying to record on most things, right? This is just like, this is a thing that I've tried to do a million times with my Digitact, you know, like my Digitact Mark 1. I've never tried this with any of the Mark 2 Electron stuff, so maybe it works better, but I very highly doubt it because this didn't work very well with the Octatrack. Firstly, because the Octatrack didn't have great USB MIDI. I don't think it actually has any USB MIDI. I think the USB port is just for thing. So that was a big hang up. But also even just recording the MIDI data into the Octatrack, it was not very good. It didn't seem to grab all of the parameters and respect them and have good blah 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 blah. What I'm getting at is the Hapax does this very nicely, actually. It's so good. It's astonishingly great. And here, I'll show you. We'll go in here. So we've got a pattern. We actually want to go into a step menu, right? So this is channel 2. Our acid sound. We hit play. Okay, sounds good, right? So we are in a step thing. We want this to be longer. We want it to be like 8 bars, right? And this is generating something new every single time we hit play, right? You can actually watch the notes go. Oh, my dog's Mr. Mako's coughing. Mr. Spike's going to see what's up. Anyways, so this is kind of changing up pretty fast here, actually. You know, that's happening quite often. It's happening every bar. So maybe we want to say every 8 bars. It's still changing some aspects. I kind of like this one, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab it here on MIDI. Right? Okay, why does it look like that didn't grab? It didn't grab because I did it the wrong way, and I have the MIDI routing in the wrong place. But luckily, that's not important because we can just hit to clip, right? And this little button down here, if you missed that, this little one right down here, whoop, 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 whoop. And so that's just going to send it to a clip here, right? So now we can just turn this off and we could go. And I like that a lot, right? So we're gonna come back over here and we're gonna pause this, and we're gonna maybe turn it back on because maybe we can get another one that's just very similar to that, with all of the steps, right? And so maybe we'll just hit clip to clip because it doesn't even matter, man. We've got all this time. Why touch anything? Why ruin anything? So now we'll hit play here. All right, so that's cool. I'm digging that, right? So maybe let's get one variation where it's just like 4 notes right here, and we'll go 2 clip, right? Oh, hi Spike, how are you? Gotta show his butt to the internet. What are you doing? Hey, stop! No, we're not fighting. He's crazy. Okay, wait. What does this one sound like? It's just got 4, right? Hi, Spike. I like it. Spike, what do you think? Are you trying to sit down on my keyboard? All right, well, he's going to sit down on my keyboard, so there's not much I can do about that. Look at this, you guys. You see what I'm dealing with? Trying to get work done here, Spike. It's okay. He's very cute. Okay. I think my animals think I'm going crazy. They're like, this guy just talking to himself. But this is nice. I like this, right? Okay, so we've got a nice back to the hatbacks, right? We're in pattern view, which is just like Live's clip view now. So let's make, a few clips here. So we'll make one clip here, and we'll make this clip, we'll make it color too. I feel like if you, oh, it's gonna be a boob. I think they fixed this in the new thing. I think you have to put something in there, and I think that this is what, oh, how do I make a null clip for really fast? It's okay. We'll just do it like this, right? Okay. Sorry, Spike threw me off with sitting right where I need to put my fingies for my keyboard here, so it doesn't matter. So we're gonna get this like quick one here by just like pressing record and then going into the step, making sure that we've got a little bit of room here because it's not going to be perfect sync when we hit play, which is right now. All right, so that's fine, and I'm chill with that. That was actually like incredibly, like that was spot on. You can hear the, not a situation where I can listen, but I see hatbacks and cat butt. And that's what's up, Jared. Now there's a cat on my record button. What am I gonna do about this? You know, the variance here, so it's kind of funny actually. So I'm sorry, Spike. I'm sorry that I'm moving it. Okay, so that's fine for that pattern here. We're gonna hit record. And then for this one, Mako or Spike, you're kind of in the way. You're holding down a button. Spike, you're just being so cute, but you're pressing buttons that I need you to not press with your face. And it's so adorable, but I don't know what to do. Well, I'm gonna need you to just move ever so slightly. Okay. All right. Cool. Ow. Don't bite me, please. All right. Okay. Step. And we want this to be a little bit longer. We're recording the second little phrase here. Spike, you love to mess me up. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. So that was nice. Let's make sure we got it good, right? Is there an X? Did I cut it off there before the end? I think there is a note that I'm missing. Right here, maybe? Ooh, see, this is the best part about this, though, is that you can now we can go in here, we can put whatever notes we want in. We can put this high note back up in here. And then if we make this long. See, it goes like. I love that. Big fan of that. Right, okay, so that's fun. Liking that a lot. Okay, so finally we are going back out to pattern menu to get one more sequence. Spike, are you gonna let me do this? Maybe. Hit record. This is not a good demo for like functional purposes, but you guys see what I'm doing. I'm making the sequence. I'm recording it in the Hapex, and we are getting perfect one-to-one recreations with very little MIDI jitter. Oh wait, is that the right one? No, this is the one I want to record. Undo. Love an undo button, baby. Okay, record. The second one is the one I want because I did these out of order for some reason. Here we go. Beautiful, right? Let's check our work. So we go back out, we look into pattern view here, and we'll just hit play. Those are the same pattern. So which one did I miss? That is the one I missed. Okay. Alright. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, shit. Undo, undo. Pattern. This one. Steps. All. Oh, Mr. Spike, you're on the delete key. Delete. Record. Which one's the one we were saying we were doing? It was number one, right? Number one. This one, right here. Okay. Sounds good to me. Okay, cool. That's all we need you for, Ableton Live. You can go away now, honestly. Whoop. All right. So now we've got these sequences in Spike. Well, we've got them in the Hapex, all right? And we can go between them, you know. And something that I'm a big fan of is that when you go back into the step thing here, now you can hit that all button, and we can edit all sorts of bits and bobs about it. So if like we want to make all these steps shorter, we can make them all shorter, right? We want to make them all uniformly the same thing. We can do that, you know? If we like, oh geez, Probably got pretty quiet there for a second. This is why I have a clip-on microphone, and I unclip it constantly. What can I say? Anyways, something else that's really fun that you can do about this is now we can come in here and we could add something like maybe a chance, right? And so you could say like, okay, well every 16th note, now there's kind of like a that one didn't work. Okay, the echo didn't work. But what I'm getting at here is you can have a lot of fun with the effects that are built into the Hapax here, right? So something that I usually like to do is take a scaler, right? Because it makes like scaling things very easy, and then we can, you know, if we want to say like, oh, you know, G minor Aeolian, right? We'll transpose up, you know. Bro, we're getting into some crazy shit acid here, all right? But anyways, there you go. We've made a fun little thing. Here, look, let's load something that I was doing. And let's see if it's any good or not. Nope, this is not right. That sounds about right. Let's see what happens. Nothing happened. I fixed these pads, and for some reason, they're back to sounding bad. And I don't know why. This is what I got for you, okay? Funky little sounding acid. I fixed these pads. I'm so bummed out that they now sound pretty bad. Something else I noticed. You can make shit sound so farty with some random. Anyways, the cheesiest sounding cheeseball sounds that you have ever heard and seen in your entire life. All inspired by Mr. Spike the cat. Oh god, look at my face. We should get it out of the way so you can see Mr. Spike. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Oop. Face. Look at that cat. He's so cute. Anyways. Something else. More. Let's take a quick perusal before we talk about some other stuff of the yes, I'm sure. The sounds available on the sRJV effects. Hold on, I'm coming down here. Shh. Okay, you guys got to hear this shit. All right, wait, 3. I think this is my favorite expander I've gotten for this thing so far. Wait, here, where's live? Oh, oh my God. Listen to that. That's just patch number 1 of like 300, bro. Wait, it's just called Siren Song. Let's go. Number 2. This is just every patch on the sound effects thing now. Some of these are horrible. All right, see that one's like something awful. That is straight up. Tell me that's not the sound from like when you fall down a hole in Zelda, right? Tell me that's not that sound. Like the like down in the hole. Dude, sound effects is so good. There were a couple that made me just like cry. Some of the string ones are very good. Oh wait. There was one. Let me find one and let me put on the arpeggiator here. Wait. Because there were some ones that were like it was called, let me find it. It was like Praying Monks or something. Wait, what am I doing? I've got the thing. Okay, wait. This one's just called Jungle Fever. This is like part of the reason I really wanted the sound effects one, because it's got so many of these like just straight like, you know, like when like 60 Minutes was like does like footage of like, you know, like somebody walking around and stuff. Let me find some of these good ones I was playing with earlier, because they were actually ridiculously good. That's a patch. I'm like, dude, I don't know, that's fun, dude. That's like get a whole make a whole patch, make a whole song on like. Anyways, let me find Evil. Whoa, this one's just called Evil Mission. Oh wait, this one's called Master Blaster. It's very good. Okay, but then also we got the phenomenal Low Squelcher. Right, this one needs arpeggiation. That's just like, that's a whole epic in and of itself. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sorry, but like Modern day Electron could never, bro. This one's just called fuzz menu. Dude, like, see, that's fun as fuck, bro. Hit me with the random. Where's the random? The random order down, up, down, down, random, random. Oh, there's just bassy ones down below. Wait, what's up? What's up top? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, Spring. And yes, dude, proper. I'm finding that out. The menu ones are like the best ones. Like the FX menu is like. Like that's just fun as heck. It's just fun. Like I bet if you were to come in here and if you were to just go register and you were to hit play. Right? And then you start to add like velocity randomization, right? Length randomization. Like this is just like random ass noise right now. I'm having fun with it. Anyways, let's see what else we got. This just says Vox menu. This is very bizarre. Anyways, wait, how many are on here? Yeah, 256. Wait, this one's good too. Oh, wait, this is the one with the... This has the, like, alarm sound on it. Wait, is it just random? Oh, I see, I see. I was like, what's happening? Because I still have the randomization on. Okay, get ready to hear that in every single thing I make for the rest of forever. Okay, all right, that's enough of that. So yeah, I'm very excited. I got this like yesterday. the SFX thing. I'm so much I'm fucking stoked to play with it, brother. But yeah, that's some fun gear junk. For the moment. Uh, let's see here. I got animals all over the place. They will not stop being. Look at these guys. They just want to sleep on me. That's all they want. Okay. So now for some yapping. Spike, once again. Don't, Mike. Let me look at. I need to see my computer, dude. Okay, whatever. Whatever. You guys. This cat's hurting me. Ah, ah. Stop it. Stop it. We're live on the internet. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. Yeah, he does want to pet me. So it's been a while since I've done a live stream, pretty much. It's been a while. It's been a long time. That's pretty actually very normal. But I think it was, let's see here. Let's take a look at my notes. Yeah, it was probably about Super Booth is when I started these notes. And here I will go to the thing. And I really like to use like the Perfect Circuit, they do a really good job of, not just because I worked for them, I know these bozos. But they cover pretty much everything. You know what I mean? And so like I kind of watched this and I was like watching it, everything's coming out. There's new synthesizers. Everybody's like, look at this. It's like, oh wow, that thing looks, kind of cool, and that thing looks kind of cool. And like I saw this and I was like, wow, looks like they ripped off my boys, my Castle Bastel boys. And it's actually kind of funny. Somewhere in this article, Perfect Circuit has this line, which I think is for wherever the like one button synth is, where like I feel like they were running out of nice things to say. There's like one of these synths that's just like one button and you just like push it. It's kind of like the Moffensief shtick thing, but they're like trying to make it like not dumb, like Moffensief was like, this is dumb and silly. Like, enjoy how dumb and silly it is. See, look at all this stuff came out. I can't even find it. Doesn't matter. But Perfect Circuit penned a line that I thought was pretty banger of a line here that just said, living in a post-scarcity sonic landscape can offer us boundless arrays of sounds. But the amount of choices are often far too limiting to let us fully explore our own creative desires. Free yourselves from the trappings of society and give in to the pulse of the universe to just do it all for you with a single press of a button. And there was something about that line that honestly, I was just like, I was reading that and I was like, that sounds very much just like, I don't know, what my experience in the world has been. And like just out here lately, for reference, I'm doing work at a company, and it's a corporation, and it's like probably anybody who's working at any corporation right now will tell you the marching orders are like, use AI, do AI, like figure out blah 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 blah. And yeah, we come to stuff like this especially, and like nothing, I guess what I'm getting at here is like maybe I'm getting a little jaded maybe this stuff just isn't made for me as much anymore. Like even these events and things like that. This thing looked cool, Menki's new thing, but in classic Menki fashion, he's like, "Look at this thing. It looks super awesome." And then I'm never gonna say anything about it. Who knows? But I guess what I'm getting at here is very few things have really like caught my attention and made me go like, oh, that looks cool. I should pay attention to that in any meaningful way. And the polyend thing is like a perfect example of this because like I feel like polyend and the reason I keep having beef with them is because they make things that you're like, "Oh, this looks good." But then you like look at it more and it's just like this is just boring. It just doesn't do anything and it's like the same thing that I've seen a million times. Like you're telling me like, "Oh, it's analog voices with digital control." It's like, "Okay, yeah, so is a million other things." You guys, this cat right now. He has been like kind of annoying for like the past few days, but like right now, he will not stop just rolling over in my lap and being cute. Oh no. Oh geez. Oh, you guys saw that too, I hope. Fucking trying to take my camera. Spike, come on, man. Come on, man. You... Ah! Okay, well. Ah! Oh! All right. Okay, Spike. He doesn't like that the microphone exists or that I am using the keyboard. So we're just gonna just use the mouse. Um, and I'll just hold this. Uh, this is why I was holding it in the first place. And going back to this quote that I opened this whole thing up with, where I was like, huh, just like, I feel like I've seen all this stuff before. Like, I feel like I really, like this is, oh, it's Elmira too. So it's just like, it's a Soma thing. They're like, here is a flow 3. Oh my gosh, it's a fill, da 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 da. Everything's iterative. Everything's like a version of another thing, of another thing, of another thing. There's very little new cool stuff. And that's all fine and good and everything, but what is coming out, the new stuff that's coming out, is continually I look at all of this junk and I'm like, okay, and I look at the XV, or not the XV, the JV 2080, which is now a nearly 30-year-old synthesizer. And I say like this is still pretty cool to me. This has still got I have even barely scratched the surface and I know that there are depths to plumb in that device. And I know that device is going to offer me uh um like satisfaction and it's going to be like a puzzle that I can play with for many like years. I know, and that's like why I bought it. I did some research. And you know what? That thing was like $300. It was not very expensive. It was actually very cheap and it has kind of been passed up by the rest of the like synth world. I think that actually Alex Ball just made a video about the JV 2080. Here wait, and it's a really good video, so we'll go watch it in a sec. But I guess what I'm getting at here is like I really do feel a stagnation in the synth industry as a whole, and I say that as a person who's like really has as like I really used to like love just hearing new stuff about all this about everything that was going on. Like this is the thing that this is the like one R&D synth that just like makes a thing, and it's like, oh, whatever. Bukla's got their like they came out with this thing. I've seen like zero people talk about it. I've seen zero videos. It might not even be out yet. It might be out. Who's to say? Who's to know? There's a really cool mixer, You know, there's like three really cool mixers that have come out since IntelliGel, you know. And then well, and that's another thing is like why did it take IntelliGel to make like a really good mixer coming like hot off the heels of honestly of like Bastel and stuff like that, who also have made like a couple of really good mixers for like five other people to be like, "Oh, we really want a mixer." Um and so like that's like a general feeling in all is like there's kind of like a stagnation. Been having a lot of fun looking back, looking at things that are not necessarily like vintage old, but things from like the 90s and early 2000s, things that have like a lot of midi ability, you know what I mean? And that's been looking really cool to me, and those have been the things that I have been interested by. Now, also to say, as we're doing just like kind of a super booth roundup, like you know me, you know I love Bastel, and like I literally, I helped beta test this thing, and I continue. I would play around with it more, but they just gave me some firmware to play with, so I gotta go play with that firmware. And I haven't loaded it on there yet, so that's tomorrow. That's a tomorrow thing, and it's a today issue. But there have been a few other things that I've seen that have been pretty cool, and I do want to like point those out. So the first being the kalimba. For realness, the kalimba is like it's an experience that like you're gonna have to like have and play with to like fully know how cool it is. But I think I'm getting pretty close to being able to show how uniquely awesome it is. That's really cool to me. Big fan of that. The electron thing. Hold on, Spike finally left. Um. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so did we not get any pictures of this? All right. So I've not seen anything about this since this kind of was announced, I guess. They kind of like showed up with it seems, and then they were like, "Oh no, my frames are dropping." Okay, cool. So yeah, uh this is actually really interesting to me. And hopefully it's as cool as we all want it to be. So this is like this outbox, and allegedly you could plug this into any overbridge enabled device. And on the newer devices, I'm led to believe, like the Digitech 2, you can just set up any like anything as a direct output, and some of these can be inputs even too, I believe, for some devices. And also MIDI to CV is just like built right in there. And it's just like a click, da, 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 da. And allegedly for like the older devices, like the Digitact and like the ones that I have, the Mark Ones and stuff, you would be able to use like some sort of web browser type thing that to like set up the inputs and outputs like however you want them. And I do believe, yeah, see here's um some coverage on it. You can take a look at that. Da, 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 da. That was one of the cool things. I'll give Electron props. If that it turns into a real thing and that becomes a product and makes it out to market, I'll be super stoked. That's really cool. That's like everything I've ever wanted. That would make multi-tracking in like a professional environment so much easier. It would also make um like a bunch of workflows that I would want to experiment with, like things like actually having sidechain compression that doesn't stink. Think about how cool of like stuff you could get with a digitone, even like the Mark One digitone with like four voices going out and stuff like that. Anyways, tons of cool shit that potentially could go down if that comes out. I still would like to get a digitone Mark One. Anyways, there are some cool things coming out, making their way out into the world. I just I guess, and I'll talk about this more in a little bit, but for me, the excitement of like new synth is kind of like it's waned, I guess you could say. I'm not super. I don't want new stuff because, and that's not from like I don't want new stuff because I'm like, new stuff sucks. I'm just like, I'm just like I've come to this point where I've like now I really am appreciating things that are done and finished, things that are uh not gonna change, and things that have like a decent amount of documentation. And we're gonna we're gonna get into that in just a sec too here. Wait, let me move this so I'm looking more at my thing. Um so now I'm just rambling. Blah, 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 blah. So now let's be mildly mean. Let's take a little bit of a like a left turn. How do I phrase this? Okay. Um so boop, 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 boop. All right, here's the thing. I'm gonna be a little corny here for a second. I'm gonna be a little cheesy, I guess. So like this year, I came into the year, I was like, I'm gonna do all this stuff, I'm gonna do all this streaming, I'm gonna be more active, blah 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 blah. And to be honest, that was kind of like me trying to be less depressed than I really was. And I realized that I'm terribly depressed. And so I was like, I gotta not be depressed and like try to be all out on the internet and do all this stuff. I gotta fucking bring it in, figure my shit out, and all that stuff. And so I'm bringing it all in. I'm figuring it out, and I like to like kind of look out into the world, do the like Squidward thing, Look at, hey, what are all those people having fun out there doing? And like I look at like Synth World sometimes, and I just see crazy fucking shit happening, you guys. Um, so like Ben Jordan was just on Tucker Carlson, which is like that's crazy to me. If you're unaware who either of those people are, Ben Jordan used to make cool synth videos until he let like literally people in his comments bully him into, I guess now he makes like clickbait videos where he like takes social issues like the flock camera thing and just like packages them into videos where he tries to get like 6 million views, which is like, okay, now what are you doing with all that like energy? I don't know. Going on Tucker Carlson though and lending his audience to Tucker Carlson, fucking unhinged, not what I would have expected, right? So yeah, and I also see like a ton of people out there like trying to do the more like influencer thing, like they're trying to be like influence, they're trying to do stuff, they're trying to like, like collab with people, they're making TikTok-y things, cool. All right, fine, whatever, cool. I'm all for that. I love to see people getting excited about this thing, one of my interests, Cool, awesome, great. Not like to see Ben Jordan on Tucker Carlson. And what I also don't like to see, and what I'm gonna be like kind of mean about, is like people who seem okay. Let's just hop right in here. Let's just dive right in. Um, these guys. This guy right here, this Anthony Marinelli music, Anthony Marinating music or whatever. I don't know why, but this guy like is starting to get on my freaking nerves, dude. Like YouTube decided that he would just be thrust into my algorithm because they were like, this guy's fucking, synthesizer shit is small. It's like incredibly small, right? So we're looking at let's look at his page here, you know. Um no, you can't. You cannot talk. Um but like this dude made like 30 videos where he's like, was there a fire during, Michael like, here's how, and like a lot of this shit looks super AI generated, like these pics and everything. It's what up, a beat lab person. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this guy was on a ton of MJ sessions or whatever. I don't really care like if he was there or not. The fact of the matter is that in 2026 this man is like very very much using like a ton of, see this he goes back and forth. He'll do the like Thriller, the like Michael Jackson thing, and like he was doing that for a little bit back here too, I feel like. And he's like trying to do all this like YouTuber crap. But for a little bit here he was like going to all of these like vintage synth people and trying to be like, I'm, like da 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 da, like this, that, and the other thing. He went to like this guy is one of the original Oberheim engineer. No, wait. Yeah, see, he's like he knows a lot of cool people, like for sure, but I'm not saying that, but like okay, and this is what the types of videos that he makes with it though, is he makes these videos where
eventually.
Today we're going to talk about the obscene cost of
he makes these videos where he calls up this other guy that I have identified a pattern of evil with, and
vintage synths.
they say stuff
All
like
new
this.
synths, unless you're buying something that's boutique and that is filled with parts and designed with serviceability in mind, on a blanket general level, will all be doorstops eventually.
Okay, that's how they open this video. Vintage synth, worth it or just hype, right? Okay, so that tells me nothing about vintage synths. Is it worth it or just hype? That's like a super duper inflammatory statement about just like modern synths, which could mean fucking anything. So let's just say any synth made in the last 20 years. That's false. That's just wrong. Whatever. Who is this guy? This is the dude from Rosen Audio. They repair synthesizers. I have met this guy. I have thought that this dude has known his stuff. I've thought this dude to be exactly Larry's Beat Lab. But we're gonna take a look at this here because this is upsetting
Today
to
we're
me.
going to talk about
And honestly, I saw this however many months ago this is 3 months ago, and it's been stuck in my brain. So once something is stuck in my brain like this, I gotta yap about it. It's been 3 months, all right? It's been 3 months since I heard whatever Rosam guy say all new synths will be doorstops. I gotta know what the hell he's talking about. So let's take a look. And I'm going to play these at very quick speed because that's how I watch videos.
of vintage synths, how much space it takes to store them, and how much time it takes to get them fixed and keep them maintained. What do I really like?
Oh, so okay. We're just going to skip through some of this stuff because he is for instance, for like just for sake of the like, saying everything here. This is a 25-minute video and he's going to talk to a handful of people and get quotes like this.
Right? You don't just become the owner of a musical instrument. You become the caretaker of a piece of electronic music history. And that includes a responsibility to use that instrument to make music and help write the next chapter of that history.
Why?
Bruh, I'm sorry. How did you even get to that desk that you are sitting down at? You expect me to believe that with the statement that you just made, that you're using every single one of those devices that look dusty from this picture? I'm just like, whoa, okay, so that's crazy. So that's maybe the first half of this video, by the way. I cannot stress enough that, he talks to Heinbach, which also this is this other thing. Like, he talks to that's the guy from Chromeo who says something like really disingenuous. And then Heinbach
This
literally is like, look at my fucking Gucci bag.
is my fantastically expensive vintage synthesizer, and it's the most expensive thing that I own. It's a Synth AKS, and I bought this for about 9,000 euro a few years ago. The price of this now, you can't find these anywhere below 15K if they're in good condition. So this has kept its value. And
Look at my expensive cool bullshit. So, okay, so he gets a bunch of people that say, look at my expensive cool bullshit, right? And then he does this really weird thing where he introduces his friend.
expert. So we're going to go from here. Are we just going to implode? So I wanted to talk to an expert. So I went to my friend Rob Rosen, who knows everything about analog synthesizers.
Rob Rosen knows everything about analog synthesizers, but you guys, he knows something else.
He knows what's in them. He knows how to fix them. He knows why they sound really good, and he knows about pricing.
He knows about pricing.
Oh, let's see what he has to say.
Do synths have intrinsic value? The answer is resoundingly no.
Do synths have intrinsic value? No. Rob Rosen knows everything about synths. You heard it from him right then and there, okay?
I would say, actually, as far as investments are concerned, they probably have some of the worst intrinsic values of anything.
Worst
if you
intrinsic
buy
value.
a really nice gold AP watch, it's
Right.
at least
Okay,
worth a
so
lot
he's
of
going to
money
sit here
just
and
in-
he's going to say essentially, you know, something that is true, okay? And this is we're going to go into this, but sidebar here. This is a strategy I've seen a lot of people use, including Tucker Carlson. So we'll go full circle here, where people who are about to say some unhinged, absolutely ridiculous bullshit will start their like entire little like entrance in, they'll start moving their mouth and they will say something that is just like plain vanilla true. So they'll be like, yeah, you know, like if you buy like a synth, it's like it's only worth what people, you know, like say it's worth. Is what he's saying. He's like, you could buy like a gold watch and it's always going to be worth its weight in gold because it's a gold watch. And that's absolutely true. That is 100% the truth. But if you zoom out a little bit, gold is only worth what people say it's worth. And, you know, we could convert to a society that is entirely powered by music tomorrow and gold would be worth nothing. So it doesn't matter. And above the trees, you have no idea. Rob Rosen is in this. Maybe not this clip. No, I think this clip. He is about to admit to synthflation. He's about to admit to jacking up prices, and it's like we'll just let him. We will just let him continue to like be silly here, right?
the same thing about synths, even if they have gold-plated connectors, nowhere near enough.
That's ridiculous. Okay,
Make a
we're gonna
difference at all. So
we're gonna
why
speed
would something
through
with
some
no
of
intrinsic
this.
value be worth, in some cases, 30, 40, 50, or even over $100,000? And the answer is very simple: that you're buying a story. You know, you're buying the lore and the legend that has been offered to you.
You're buying the lore and the legend, the
Also,
story.
there's
You're blah 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 blah. Okay,
rare.
that's not a good argument.
all vintage synths
They're
are rare when
rare.
you really put them categorically
Okay,
as far as
that's
collectibles.
not
Some of them are made in the
also
hundreds, and some of them are made in the thousands.
things are rare. Rarity is not, exclusivity is not necessarily an indicator of rarity. If I make a synth tomorrow and it's the only synth that's ever made, it's not necessarily rare because nobody wants it. Nobody's looking for it. Nobody knows it exists. So on and so forth. Rarity is not.
But even the one
Who says these things are rare is another thing too. So he'll tell you in just a sec.
Like CS80s, there's only maybe 3,000 of them. At least that's an estimate that I've heard from some smart people. And 3,000 of something is really not a lot. You know, when we think about synthesizers that
3,000 of something is
I think there's
actually
over
pretty
100,000
decent
DX7s.
amount.
I think I maybe read that there was over 1 million, though that sounds very wrong.
Okay, so he's gonna
For
say
20 years.
blah blah
because
blah.
you can throw a rock and you'll hit a house with a DX7 in it if you throw.
This is
enough
true.
rocks. There's
This
so
is
many.
true.
If they're not
He's
worth some
all
of their parts, then are they recreatable? Could I just take that money and instead of spending, you know, a lot of tens of thousands of dollars on a synth, just buy the parts and then find somebody that can make it? Is that
That's something that we do with new OBX voice cards. So here we have an original, just as an example, and I would value this original.
Okay,
much
this
higher
is
than-
this is absolutely wild what he's about to say here, right? So he would value his OBX voice
I would
card.
value my recreations, because my recreation is not this. You know, it's identical in every way. It's the same trace layout, uses the same parts, but it's not the thing that came out of the Oberheim factory. And this would be way more collectible than the reproduction that I make.
would it sound the same?
It would sound exactly the same. But that
It would sound exactly the same, but he wouldn't value it. Even though and that to me is wild. And this is where we have to look at something that's kind of like a skew in value, right? And he's gonna continue to proliferate or to keep a myth going here in a second too about why you would want those older things. He's gonna point to lead and so on and so forth, which is ridiculous, but we'll get there. So this is a weird thing to me where he's going to say like, here, look at this. I've done the work to completely understand this voice card, to know the trace layout, the components, how everything is put in there. And I have fucking completely recreated it. Oh, he was, my dog was having a weird dream. Anyways, so he's like, I've completely recreated it, but I value the version that was made 40 years ago from in a factory, you know, like I value that more. Like, dude, what are you talking about? That's wild to me. Like, you have something that just brand new right in front of you and it works just as good. Anyways, that's wild to me. That's a strange value statement in my opinion. Let's let him keep going.
that only goes to value. But when it comes to sound, they sound the same. If you got a Moog module and you copied it with a photocopier and put the same exact type of parts, the same resistors, to the same type, same value, same tolerances, it would sound effectively the same.
But are those parts available?
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I love vintage synths, and that's why so many other people love them, and that's
The parts are available. This is what he's saying. The parts for all your vintage synths are available. That is not true.
they're viable investments.
Whatever.
Because they basically will outlive all of us.
Okay, wait. Synths he also just said synths are a viable investment, which is crazy because he just said earlier that they have no intrinsic value.
So many other people love them, and that's why they're viable investments, because they basically will outlive all of us.
Synths are not viable investments. They will not outlive you or I. This is ridiculous. As just a brief little thing, let's take a look at the 90s when everybody said, hey, digital is better. Get rid of these stupid analog synthesizers and give me all the digital. And then in 2010, everybody said, hey, give me all that analog stuff back. Things change. Boop, 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 just like this, okay? I've gotten synthesizers for $100 that I've sold for $400, and I've gotten ones for $400 that I've sold for $200. These things are not, they're not investments. It's not a portfolio. It has no value other than what somebody is willing to pay for it, okay? And that's means it has no value if nobody's willing to pay for it. This is something that like people have broken their brains about since eBay is around, and they've gone and they've been like, hey, I've got this can of stuff, and they look on eBay and they're like, hey, this can of stuff is selling for $40. I see somebody's got it listed for $40. It must be worth $40. But it's not worth $40 until the $40 is in your hand. And everything from like the I've got the can of stuff to like getting the $40 is work that needs to happen, and it's not necessarily value that completely translates. Maybe I'm not doing a great job of explaining this, but what I'm saying is a synthesizer is a tool, and if you buy a synthesizer or a drum machine for any purpose other than to use it and enjoy it and derive entertainment and happiness and, you know, like to kill some time and to like chew on it with your brain and make funny noises, if you're buying it for any purpose other than that, you're fucking up. You're fucking up. And if you're buying something for the story and the legacy, I hope that it means a lot to you, this story and the legacy. So
Something
anyways,
like this
Let's let him keep going.
These are the new voice cards. I think these are from a Prophet. Yes, from a Prophet 6. So this is a Prophet 6 voice card. And these, once these die, you have to replace. Absolutely.
So explain why this is not easily replaceable.
So this is using what's called surface mount technology, which in and of itself is not really a problem unless you.
Okay, so this is really, really important to me because he's about to say surface mount technology.
Using what's called surface mount technology, which in and of itself is not really a problem unless you actually have to fix it. So if you
It's not really a problem unless you have to fix it. Surface mount technology.
can get a schematic, which for these you cannot.
If you can get a schematic for them, you can fix it. But you can't get a schematic for them. That is not true. You can test the components on surface mount technology. You can probe it. You can pull the components off. You can see what they do. You can get a schematic for something. AI exists nowadays. This is one of these things that like people will be like, oh, but you could take a picture. I legitimately, brothers, sisters, you can take a picture of these circuit boards and you can like pop it into AI and it'll get you halfway there. It's kind of crazy, but when you are faced with a company like Sequential that's going to say, hey, you can't have my schematic, and you're sitting there with 2 broken voice cards that you could possibly fix if you have the technology, that, in my opinion, is a fine and acceptable use of AI. All right? Like, you're fixing a broken thing. That's an offset. That's an equivalent exchange. You can do the Full Metal Alchemist and be like, I burn the water to have a Prophet 6 voice card. So let's keep going. Surface mount technology, you can't fix it because you don't have the schematics.
Tiny components to actually fix it.
The components are too tiny though, too.
And that's not impossible, but if this is a
But it's not impossible.
multi-layer board, which I'm sure that this probably is, you could have problems within
It's a multi-layer board though.
the layers that cannot be fixed. And then you also have these the SIM card thing going on here, and these can become corroded. And once these go, you're basically,
The SIM card thing. Those are just contacts. Those are just the contacts that the slot in on those cards. Those have literally been in use since like the 80s. That's insane to say that that's a point of failure. It is, but like that's a point of failure that's in a lot of other synths too.
as good as done with it. I mean, it's just going to become useless. And that is actually the only reason I have these again is because they're both broken, and I just hold on to them because I don't like throwing things away. So these are already dead. And once Sequential stops.
And before you say like, hey, you're spending a lot of time on his part of the video. His part is the video, you guys. By the way, 2/3 of this video is just him talking to this guy about vintage synths. Are they worth it? So I'm not like sitting here just hammering on this guy.
So then the synth just goes up in value if you have a working one.
Yeah, but everyone at that point knows that you're buying a lifespan. You're buying another few years of something that maybe you really like. It's the same with like an Andromeda A6. You're buying borrowed time. Whereas a vintage piece, sure, they require maintenance. Everything in the world requires maintenance, and I really
okay. You're not wrong about that. Everybody in the world requires maintenance. You're not wrong about that. Yeah, good. Broken clock's right twice a day.
Bagging on vintage gears, like, well, they break down a lot. It's like everything needs to be maintained. Doesn't matter if it's your car, your washer, your dryer, the microwave, your stove. Everything breaks. I've had a stove break here in my house, and you never think that that's the thing that's
true.
Break, but everything breaks. And if something's maintainable, then it has longevity, and then you don't.
So this is where I am like, okay, why are you doing what you're about to do then? Because you're obviously like, hey, no, it's important to fix things. You obviously understand the value of being able to fix things, but
replace it.
So
let's let him keep talking.
Again, we're out there trying to figure out, well, what synth do I buy? And it's a lot more money to buy a vintage synth, right?
Of course.
But so the vintage synth is going to also potentially hold its value.
At the very least, you can hope and expect for it to hold its value.
Whereas
okay, so a vintage synth is going to hold its value.
You could spend 1/3 of the price or 1/4 of the price, but do all new synths die? Like,
do all new synths die?
They're not fixable?
All new synths, unless you're buying something that's boutique and that is filled with through-hole parts and designed with serviceability in mind, on a blanket general level, will all be doorstops eventually. Some things actually.
That's a wild statement. I don't know why you would make that statement. That's the statement they led the video off with. This is crazy to me. This is absolutely unhinged. That's just not true, okay? There's tons of stuff that's just very easily fixable. There's tons of things that use surface mount parts. I'm not gonna crash out too much about him saying that surface mount stuff is not fixable, because I've already got queued up somebody else to crash out about that for me. A legendary and historic crash out. So we'll watch that in a second, as soon as we let this guy keep eating his own foot.
Even the newer stuff up in value, I think, like the Nifonium and some.
And tactical MIDI, it is Louis Rossmann. I pulled a video that's like one of the first Rossmann videos that I've ever seen, where he just is like fucking flipping out because somebody told him, here, wait, let's just cause we're here, and because we brought this up here, let's just take a look at, like, you guys should, I would hope, know Louis Rossmann from this guy. But this, look at, there's like, oh, you're like, you might be like, oh wait, this guy's, something looks kind of funny about this guy, because this was 12 years ago. Okay, right? So essentially this is how to solder a backlight fuse on a unibody MacBook without a rework station. Because I think I'm not totally sure, like, because I honestly don't understand a lot of what he's saying in this video. We won't watch the whole thing, but I think that he essentially asked somebody for like a spec or something. He was like, hey, how do I do that? How do I, like, what part do I use, or how do I replace this? And they were essentially like, you don't have the proper tools for this, so like, I'm not even going to bother to.
Hi, today I'm going to show
And
you
so he's
how to replace
pissed.
a fuse without having the proper tools. It's absolutely necessary that I give the backstory as to why I'm doing it.
And he goes through this whole backstory here, and you could see he's very pissed, and he essentially does not have a very expensive rework station, and he's gonna come here.
But that doesn't, again, it just doesn't look like a fuse.
And this is a computer circuit board, and I'm sorry, Rob Rosen, but a computer circuit board is infinitely more complex. There are infinitely smaller pieces, and the density of components on a computer board is so much. It's at several levels of magnitude above what you find on just any common average synthesizer. Okay, it's a computer. This is a MacBook Pro, and this guy is looking at these little components right here. He doesn't have the schematic for this. He doesn't know how some of this shit works, and he's in here.
The 820-2850, replacing the fuse is easy because there's nothing around it. Whereas on here, I could very easily knock off any one of these things on the side. So see what I just did there to remove that fuse? See how quickly that came off? What I did is I had my soldering iron set to a very high temperature. I much prefer a high temperature in less time than a low temperature in a lot of time. So what I did here is I had the iron touching both ends, and I let it sit there to get hot for a little while. I put a little bit of solder on it, and the surface tension of the solder actually sucked whatever the shit that was onto my iron. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of solder on both of those pads.
Okay,
Way,
so
talk to me about
this is, wait, I think he's about to make some underhanded comments.
life fair. How about making your living doing micro soldering when you have a hand that does this? Yeah, don't talk to me or send me messages.
So Lewis is kind of a monumental asshole. Like, he's known for being kind of a prick. Or at least, and I mean that in the nicest way, because he is a dude who is always frickin' fighting for what he believes is right, and right to repair is what he has been fighting for like the last, I would say maybe like eight years or so. That's anyways. This is a guy with a big frickin' chunky regular old soldering iron, and he's just said it. He's doing micro soldering. He's figuring this stuff out. This is not a microscope. This looks like a regular frickin' camera with a macro lens. He gets so much better at all of this stuff, but he spends like the first minute here just being like,
tools to do what you need. Well, here are the tools. Oh, well, you don't have the money to buy them. Here's $500 to buy a rework station. No. What?
He just fucking freaks the fuck out for like the first 6-7 minutes of this video, just about essentially people telling him like, hey, you can't do this, you can't fix this, you can't do it. And he went and did it, okay? And we're gonna look at some other stories of people who go and fucking do it and everything, and just fix stuff like this and figure this stuff out. But
very boutique, low number
we're
things,
gonna let
which
Rob
again
Rosen
goes back to production amounts, can actually increase in value. Perfect example is the Oberheim 2-voice Pro, the new one that they made throughout the 2000s. Those were new for $3,600, and now
okay,
we
I don't.
Tom's,
he talks about some
authorized service center.
Wait. This is an important part too. He talks about the 2-voice Pro.
Components are big enough where you can actually fix.
He talks about the
So
2-voice Pro.
now
I forgot.
that
I was
they
gonna
made
skip
throughout
past
the
this.
2000s. Those were new for $3,600, and now you can buy them for like 10 to 13,000.
Are they fixable?
Yeah. So those are 2-layer surface mount.
Whoa. That's multi-layer surface mount technology. He just said that that's nearly impossible to fix earlier. Like, wait a minute. Like, I'm not gonna skip back. We'll go back in the. We'll do it in the VOD. He just said that multi-layer surface mount devices were near impossible to fix, but they're on the Oberheim 2-voice Pro that was released in 2001 or whatever you just said, and
all the components are big enough where you can actually fix them. Matter of fact, we were Tom's authorized service center for.
Oh, well, we were Tom's authorized service center
For a little bit, which is really cool.
which is really cool, and we fixed a whole bunch of those. Maybe not. I don't know. They were impossible. Maybe it was the authorized service center and they didn't fix a damn thing, because multi-layer surface mount technology is impossible to fix unless the components are big. And shut the hell up. You're just talking in circles.
Problem
So
that
let's
Tom
let
had
him.
with those specific units that we had to fix were the pots, and the pots, which were brand new from the factory, were all defective. So the
defective pots from the factory. No one tested them before they put them in the thing.
Is
Parts
garbage.
nowadays are garbage.
And a lot of that is because of regulations surrounding lead.
Regulations surrounding lead. This is legitimately just like snake oil bullshit, okay? Leaded solder, leaded flux, all this nonsense. It does not make things better sounding. It does not make them more electrically conducive. All this is all just nonsense, okay? There's no tangible difference between products with lead and poisonous cancer-causing materials in them than the ones that don't. Okay.
There's ROHS, and the whole world has to abide by it. Use lead-free solder, lead-free components. I mean, even the same part you can buy from 40 years ago will have lead.
I cannot stress this enough, people. Lead is a bad thing that you do not want in your everyday life. You don't want it in your water. You don't want it in your electronics. It is 2026. Rob Rosen, why are you caping for lead? Brother, what the fuck? So let's keep going.
Substantially faster than the old part, which is one reason why we don't replace a lot of regulators unless we have to. So things like that can make a big difference in longevity. Nowadays, everything just has, a million knobs, a million functions, a million hidden functions, and what's inside, it literally will not last.
All right, so to kind of get a big picture wrap.
That's bullshit.
As long as you've been doing this, you've seen increases in prices, right, on the cost of vintage synthesizers.
This is, I think, the most damning part
over
here.
time, and what do you foresee as like the percentage increase? Has it already done its major increase?
Yeah, so I think that there's maybe some parallels here.
Okay, so he's going to be like, blah, 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 things are getting more expensive.
I've seen since.
And we'll just.
Dealers like me see more money than we sell something for that we actually service.
Okay, so here's something
for more money than we sell something for that we actually service. So if I do up a profit 5, 100%, and I sell it for $6,000. And
okay, so he does up a profit 5. He's got a brand new profit 5, and he has fixed it, done all this shit, and he is selling it for $6,000. He's putting it on Reverb for $6,000.
And then some guy who just found a profit 5 in his garage listed on Reverb for $6,500, and I think to myself, oh, who's gonna buy that? They're gonna buy it.
Some guy who just found a profit 5 in his garage listed on Reverb for $6,500. Okay, so first of all, this is a false equivalency. This is your bias. You don't know that some dude just found a profit 5. Okay. The whole like we just found this in our garage ass shit, like that whole myth, it's over. Okay, the window for that has long passed. People are not just do not just have profit 5s sitting in their garage that they're like, oh yeah, that thing's worth like $5,000, No, this is ridiculous. that's the sort of thing that happened in like 2000, okay? You might still find some stuff at a garage sale. Yeah, okay. It's not never gonna happen, but the situation that he's describing stopped happening like 10 years ago.
Because mine's all done up and it's perfect.
But
And this guy just
so to recap, he's got his brand new synth that he's restored, and he says some guys just now come along and put his profit whatever for $500 more.
has this thing where he took it to the TV repair shop around the corner. He gets $500 more.
He took it to the TV shop, repair shop around the corner, who's probably more than qualified to do the repair in the same way that he is, because you know what? And they might be more qualified because I bet you they could do surface mount technologies.
And me, then I say, well, the next one's gonna be 7. Because I'm not.
Okay, so right there. So now you see that, and now you're saying, okay, well, the next one's going to be 7, but it doesn't need to be. So you're just telling me that you just inflated the price of the Profit 5 by $1,000. You're just telling me you just did that. Like, what are we doing here? Like, okay. And then I think he's about to go and say that he coined the term synthflation, which is just funny. I'll let him say that.
I'm not going to sell mine for less than that guy just sold it. That's ridiculous. So that is one great way and main way that inflation just happens. And the second thing is the pandemic did make most collectible markets.
Oh, wait, where did he says it? He says it earlier. He says that like, he invented the term synthflation, which I just don't think is true. Right. So I'm done with this video, essentially. I've let him say all the things that he's going to say that, in my opinion, are stupid. And he goes on to keep saying them. He says a couple of other just, like, normal-ass things. And then this guy, like, sits here and does this. Which is interesting to me that he would just sit here in front of like all of these synthesizers and just do this for a second and then be like, yeah, oh, he does it for like 5 minutes. And then he's like, I think all that really matters is that you have fun. And I agree with you there, buddy. I really do.
Getting your idea.
And so this video just left me with such a bad taste in my mouth because I was just like, hey, wait a minute, that's weird. I remember Rosin Sound. I've talked to you before. I've met you in real life, and you have struck me as a pretty knowledgeable person, like as a pretty smart guy who knows what he's talking about and like a decent tech. But the things you just said made me go like, hey, you might be fucking very stupid. And that makes me go like, huh, that's weird, but like, maybe you were just hamming it up for the cameras. So that last video that we watched was 3 months old, and this one is 9 months old. So this was even before that. Are reissues more reliable? So we're gonna let him fucking stick his foot in his mouth again, flame himself in the comments. We're gonna take a look here. So let's take a look. Hey, it's I don't do that.
Almost exactly 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Working on this day or this
He
time.
wouldn't be
On Friday, I
working.
received a phone call from a very important client of mine and a really good friend of mine that
This is a very important client, a very good friend,
works for a really huge artist.
really
Who I will
huge
not name,
artist.
Saying we have this OBX8 and this happened to it, or I don't really think I know what happened to it. Anyway, we need it fixed yesterday. It's flying out from off the continent straight to LAX and going to come straight here to be fixed ASAP. And I don't even know if I can do that, but normally I can, so I'll figure it out because that's what I do. Anyway.
Okay, so a huge artist is flying this OBX8 straight to Rob Rosen, to fix this bitch. Something must be wrong with it. Something must be wrong with it, right? That's pretty extreme, man. Like, they're flying this synth. It's going out of, we need it fixed now. This synth is broken. This is a very important client. This is a hookup. This is somebody knows somebody.
About new synth reliability and about how new synths are maybe not marketed.
But, he needs it now, and he's going to film a video. So he's thinking about new synth reliability.
Be more reliable than their vintage counterparts. So I thought that this was a really great example of why that's really not true. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the camera, and I'm going to show you what this thing's doing. All right, here we go. The OBX8.
Okay. So this is what's going on, which
well,
I worked at Perfect Circuit when the OBX8 was dropped. I was there. I remember actually a few customer service tickets coming in about things like this, and I remember the fix, and there we're talking about him on the forum. So let's let him
I still
go.
think is like one of the best synths you can buy sound-wise. They did a great job with this thing. Would I take it over my vintage OBX, OBXA, or OB8? No. But does it definitely do that thing if you need it, especially for live, or if you can afford vintage ones? Absolutely. But you should never.
So, does it sound great? Yes. Does it? Would he take it over as vintage? No.
One thing, oh, well, this one's just never gonna break. It's gonna last forever, and even if it breaks, it's gonna be fine. It's surely smart enough.
And I'm just gonna put a pause here on this and say that this is coming from a touring musician who's going out of country. If you are a touring musician, you cannot fuck around with vintage equipment. I'm sorry, you just do, unless you are like Elton John, you know, or like the Rolling Stones level, like I Jay-Z, you know, like the huge, massive acts. You are not fucking around. Like, unless you can hire somebody with a college degree for like electrical engineering to hang out on your tour bus and fix your shit if it goes wrong, you're not playing around with vintage synths. So you are buying new stuff because you can replace it if it breaks.
Repairable. So anyway, let's turn on.
And you can hopefully repair it, but I'm just
to
saying, like touring stuff, you know, because like a stage thing might fall on you, like, you know, you might get it lost in transit, like the device might not exist, and you might be going into a store to buy a new one because you need it to work that night. That has happened to me, not to me, but I worked in Minneapolis and LA. In Minneapolis, I worked right next to First Avenue and across the street from the Target Center. So I had people come in and say, you know, I'm with so-and-so. The Polyphonic Spree was a funny one. They came in and they needed like a jillion cables and like a bunch of like funny like tuners and stuff. And they were just like, yeah, we need all this crap. Anyways, people come in and they say like, I need this thing. Like it didn't get here, it broke in Memphis, you know, so, and like we need one, you know. Anyways, if you're a huge touring musician, you've got a tech on your team, and he knows all that shit like the back of his hand, and can probably fix it with a toothpick and bubblegum, hopefully. But this was a really important client who flew their OBX8 to Rob Rosen.
So
sounds like it's got bad tuning. Needs to be retuned.
So that voice works sounds fine. That group of 4 notes, and then I don't know which voices there are. It was the first voice, so I assume it's voice 1, which I believe is.
So that's got a dead voice, right? Bad dead voice. We don't like that.
Bottom board. Anyway, so sounds like poop. I think that's objectively true. So on these new ones, just like the old ones, you can hit this button over here, tune, and it's going to self-calibrate. And it's not just going to do the oscillage. I think it does everything. So
wait, let's go back. Master volume. This is important. That master volume knob is below halfway.
To do the oscillage, I think it does everything.
So you hit press tune. This is true. This is all correct.
Oscillator 1, oscillator 2. Now, if it's going to be the same as it has the other 5 times we've done it, now it's just frozen there.
Okay,
it's not going to do anything, and it's going to just stay right there until you turn it off and then turn it back on, and it's still going to sound like crap.
Because it only made it halfway through the calibration thing.
So, it's no good. Essentially, it's useless now. You cannot make music with this. Now, if this was the old one, if this is an OBX or an OBXA or even an OB8, what those things do when they have a voice that won't tune is they'll just shut off that voice at the end of the tuning cycle. It'll even blink which voice failed. So voice 4 has an oscillator 2 that can't be brought into range. It'll quite literally flash the 4 light and say, "Can't tune, boss.
Can't tune. I can't do it."
Take a bench, and then you can either wait for your technician to figure it out, or you can fix it before the show or before the session. You can do many things, but what you can definitely do is be okay with the fact that it's one voice is dead, and now you have an OB7. And it's still fine. You can still play 7 notes at a time. It's still going to sound great, and it's going to get you through. The show must go on, as they say. You don't really get that option, I guess, and that's unfortunate. Maybe there's some deep-rooted way to do it, but from the user's perspective, therefore the technician's perspective, there's a road technician who flew this again from close to Cuba over here.
A road technician flew this from close to Cuba.
To get here, because
there's no other route for them, and they need it fixed ASAP because they rely on this. And maybe this is something that they can work on in the future, sequential, that is, over time, to make it so that it behaves more like the older ones and knows when to not give up tuning or when to give up tuning something and move on. But for it to just get stuck like that really is a big sticking point for the argument that the new one's just going to automatically be more reliable than the old one. The old
Okay, so, right?
one can be fixed, and can be fixed
The old one can be fixed. It can be fixed
at that, especially
fast.
if it's already been gone through. So
especially if it's already been gone through.
vintage.
+1
So
vintage.
it's,
Big L for the new guys. Except that functionality that he talked about is in the OBX8. In fact, if we were to scroll down the comments here, you'll actually find you can disable voices on the OBX8 via the global setting, voices enabled. The manual states this parameter is primarily used for troubleshooting voices, as when a voice will not fully pass calibration or program switches become active and this parameter is selected, turning the blah, 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 blah. The functionality is in there. You can turn the voices off through a menu. You have a much wider degree of control over it. Right? So this was made almost immediately after this video came out, right? And he says, great point. This function works as intended. I stand by that the synth should not just brick itself if a voice can't be calibrated, however. Now let's see if it can be fixed without a whole new main board. I don't know what he's talking about there, but then he says, spoke too soon despite successful cal of the remaining 7 voices. The 3 remaining voices on the main board continue to drift more than a semitone out of tune within about 20 seconds. No good. To which like a bunch of people all start fighting and But anyways, we'll come down and we will take a look because somewhere he gets called out again, right? Because there is actually, yeah. Here it is. Somebody said the right thing. The problem actually is like this temperature calibration table, blah blah blah. They figured out this happens sometimes. There's an easy fix, there's a hard fix, and there's a reinstall the firmware fix. But the important thing is that this dude got fucking roasted in these comments. They told him, like, they were like, hey man, like all this stuff happened to me, this exact issue. All you need to do is update the firmware. Easiest fix ever. Okay, not the case. Follow-up video incoming, right? This is 9 months ago. Rob Rosen did not make a follow-up video. You know what else he didn't do in this fucking video? Is tell us what was wrong with the synth. He also didn't tell us how he fixed it. If he did fix it, he just said, oh, this is broken. And apparently I haven't read the fucking manual. It's 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And me and apparently a world famous fucking road tech couldn't figure this out. Couldn't fucking turn the voices off. Didn't try to update the firmware. Didn't even read on the forums. Like literally, apparently, a very smart guy and a dude who's paid to be smart about gear smacked their head against this keyboard and went, I can't fix it, and then just called each other. Because this is insane to me. And the fact that he would just post this L, but like, if the thing is if you just sat here and you watched the video, you would say, oh no, it must, those old new synths are bad, you know? Anyways, Jacob the winner. I know, I wish I was home. Oh yeah, fire it up. Fire up the studio, you guys. Anyways, the fact here is that Rob Rosen seems pretty convinced that new things are gonna be broken no matter what, and you should give him money to buy vintage stuff that he's fixed up and, whatever. Except there's a little bit of a problem with that I have, is that I don't think that's true. I think that he's lying. I think that he has a profit incentive to tell you that those things are true, and I think that he wants to be a cool guy for cool people. And I think that if vintage synthesizers don't exist and don't have a mythical like allure to them, that he loses some agency, and I think that he loses some of his cool factor if like an OBX8 is just as good as an OB8. And so I think I think that the two things are possible, and I want to believe that he is not stupid and is just doing some marketing. You know, because I can't fault him for doing some marketing. But if he is stupid and he's out here telling people that surface mount technology is bad and broken and not going to work, then like I have a problem with that, because you are selling yourself as a professional technician, and that's just not true. And so now we're going to look at some people who are not selling themselves as professional technicians. They are selling themselves as hobbyists and people who are just fucking in it for the love of the game, baby. So these are the usual suspects, and we're gonna let this video play out a little bit, but essentially, actually, let's just let the video play. I'm gonna play it fast though too.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Xero, for the introduction. Gesundheit. Okay. Today I want to talk about this talk, from silicon to Darude sandstorm, breaking famous synthesizer DSP. Get it? Because sand.
So this is a member of the usual suspects. They made emulators of the virus and a lot of the stuff that was based on the Motorola 56300 chip. Anyways.
Chips. Silicon is made of sand. So, I'm part of this group now called the Usual Suspects, and what we do is that we take all synthesizers from the 90s, 2000, and we make plugins for them. We make very accurate, low-level emulation that allow you to play those synthesizers again in your DAW of choice in the most user-friendly way possible.
So that's really cool.
What kind of synthesizers are talking about? We're talking about digital, virtual, analog. Think about, for example, the Nord lead.
These are, for reference, these are the synths that Rob Rosen would say, you can't fix these. These are going to be doorstops.
The Access Virus or the Waldorf stuff. Those were digital, those were based on mathematics, on algorithms, and this means that even when in some years they will all break apart, they will all cost 20,000 euros to buy, we'll still able to play them again, because the software that is run inside of them has been made possible to run again on modern hardware. The same way that we can play old video games with console emulators, the same thing we can do with those. We were able to emulate those models that I showed before because they are based on a DSP chip.
Right. So this is the chip that they kind of like made their bread and butter off of, right? It's the DSP 56300. It's used in the virus, the Waldorf, all tons of stuff. Tons of stuff. They put like 2 or 3 of them in there in the virus sometimes, right?
A special processor, which is especially optimized to run very fast math, very fast multiplications, and those work
you need that
really
for
well
audio.
for audio processing. And this is a chip made by Motorola called the DSP56K, and it was used in a lot of those devices, which is really cool because this chip is entirely documented. And
okay, so this is the important part here, right? So that chip, the DSP chip, has full documentation. Every single aspect of that DSP chip, all the binary inputs and the binary outputs, it's all here, right? So they've got it. They know everything that goes on, right? All of the ways that
the documentation of how the console works. You can just go through it and implement an emulator that just runs those programs.
So that's easy to do.
We made it on the source. If you go on GitHub right now,
they did that,
we have
right? So
we started looking into this boy
what's
here,
next?
the Roland JP8000. It's a virtual analog synth
because they go, so they're like, we're looking at this guy, everybody's asking us for it. It's a really 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 amazing sounding synthesizer, right? I'm skipping forward in the
to
essence of
emulate it.
time.
And the answers was no for a while, but then something changed.
So this was a can you do this? Can this be emulated? Can you do emulation of the JP8000 and the 8080 just like the other ones? And the answer was no, it's impossible. He's about to tell you why it's impossible.
And the reason why on the JP8080, the first preset that appears on the keyboard is called Sandstorm, which some could do the so and decided to turn that into a song. So that's the relevance that this thing has in the music history. And it was also famous because it has a special kind of sound, special kind of
This is also important. You know how much I love a super saw.
oscillator called super saw, which is a famous kind of layer than the tune saw wave, which produces a very characteristic sound. You probably heard something about this before. What you're hearing is one of the pinnacles of trance music, which is this very thick kind of instrument, and it was so popular and so mysterious that people started asking, how did this work?
How?
And there were lengthy discussions in forum that started even in 2009. Some people say that it was a phase desync, which uses
This is actually pretty funny.
Some
people
other people
say this,
do a chorus.
it's this thing, it's
down
that
to-
thing, it's this
and
thing. Adam Sasbo, I've talked about before. We've looked at his paper, maybe on here, maybe in other places, but
2010,
Very-
a guy called Adam Sabo
Very cool
wrote
guy.
their bachelor thesis on this. And what they did is that essentially they recorded a bunch of waves from this synthesizer, and they went on with math and trying to just understand from those waves how the thing worked. What we realized, though, is that this thing is running software, and digital audio isn't magic pixie dust. It's mathematics, it's software, and if you get the math
very
and the
important,
software
very
right,
true, right? This
then
guy
you
is
can just
very
emulate
fucking
the thing
smart.
and figure out how it works. So that's where we started. That's the main board of the thing, the synthesizer, and you can.
All right, so he's about to explain all this, but importantly, you're gonna take a look at these four big fat chips here, right? The hypersynth on Mate is the sound that is like the hypersynth is an emulation of a super waves. It's all the idea of like a swarm wave or a cluster wave. It all comes from the 8000, this idea. But like, look at this board real quick here, because he's about to explain this, but these four fat chips that say Roland on them, the ones outlined in red, those are proprietary chips, okay? And so only Roland has remember that data sheet earlier that said all the ins and outs of the 56300? That chip, we know how that works. We know how that DSP in and out, we got it documented. That's a Roland chip. Roland made that chip. They made it special for them. They made it special, or maybe it's a recap of another thing. Roland will never tell. They don't have to tell you. They don't want to tell you. They have this special secret sauce. They don't want you to have it. So that's why they made that chip.
We have different parts that need to be emulated. The first one is the microcontroller, which just controls the main part of the keyboard, and it's running H8 microcontroller with some flash memory, some RAM, and then the red squares that you see there, those are DSPs, and those execute the actual signal processing, and there are 4 of them connected in series that pass the result to the next one, and then the final DSP produces the audio output by using a digital analog converter. And the microcontroller was fired.
So this is the microcontroller. This does all of the like control stuff, and they've got documentation for that, right? And they're like, okay, well, so we know how this microcontroller works, so we can actually get this thing going, like,
so that we could run the original firmware and see what it was doing, seeing what it printed to the LCD, see what it was uploading to the DSPs, and also tweak all the parameters to.
So they've got the microcontroller, the brain, right, the CPU, and they're like, okay, so we've got this figured out, but we don't have the DSP. We know what the brain is sending to the DSP, but we we know what's going in, but we don't know what this DSP is doing to it and sending out, right? So they're like, okay,
programmable DSP. This execute code. But we have no idea what this code is, because if you look at this, it's a bunch of random bytes. Like, we run the CPU, and the CPU uploaded this.
It's like it's machine data. You have no idea what that means. You need the DSPs. They're like the encoder. They're the decoder ring. They tell you how all this gizmo turns into noise.
This is a program for which we have no information regarding the bytecode, the encoding, how the stuff is encoded, how the program is being run. So, because of this, some people already started giving up. Someone on forums was saying that, yeah, it's probably impossible. We just have to enjoy the hardware until it lasts and then just give up.
Done. It's no more.
And if we don't have a datasheet, then we'll never make it. We didn't accept his answer because there must be a way.
It's impossible. All of these synths will be a doorstop someday. Sound familiar? Sound like something you've heard somewhere before?
So what did we do? We started decapping the chips, which is a very common thing to do in our
What? That's the most extreme thing you could do, by the way, is be like, hey, people are saying we'll never be able to figure out how these work. Let's break them open.
And console emulation. And this is actually not the first time that I'm doing it. I have to say, I have no idea how this works. I'm a software engineer, and I know, unfortunately, very little about hardware. But
I've never done this before. Except I did it. He does say he did it one time for the MKS, which is, he's going to say, I think, is like way, way less. But this is silicone decapping. You're literally pulling apart a microcontroller. And like, you know, like we can get into this, but like he's going to get into this. I'll just let him.
I somehow managed last year at Congress to present a talk about this. I reverse engineered the piano module over from Roland from 1986, but by essentially tracing all the wires, all the blue decoration that you see there, those are all the wires present in the chip, and by figuring out what each cell did, and then by running a simulation using Verilog. The problem is that this is a chip from 1986, and we're talking about something that it was released in 1996. We have 10 years apart, and we know that back then technology advanced really fast. Which was a problem, because in fact this was the chip that we had to deal with.
Holy fucking shit. So this is what they've decapped, right? This is...
this was a lot more complicated. And, but we can still figure out some things. Those very repeated areas that you see there, this is static RAM, which is a few kilobytes of RAM that probably keeps some variables or the program or stuff like that. And the trench in the middle that you see, it's called standard cell logic. We can zoom in. Which, if you see, it's a series of rows which implement some logic gates. Think about AND, OR, XOR, and so on. And each one of them, it's connected through wires that are both horizontal and vertical. You can see like 2 layers of wires, one that it's on the top.
So if you guys are not seeing this, it's like all of these layers that go from these traces are, you know, woven in between these ones that go from up and down, right?
That is more blue, and another one is more orange. And you can see all of those rows in which all the cell circuit is present. And those effectively implement the digital circuit. If you...
So, okay, so look at this. This is like a little digital circuit. So each one of these little nodes is this, right? And he's looking at this. He's going like, eh. And he's going to figure out what each and every fucking one of those are, which, you know, zooming out, zooming out, zooming out, zooming out again, for that, and figure out how, I'm spoiling the story here, about how all of this shit goes, and he is going to figure out, hey, it's a lot, it's a whole lot of stuff. This is a very interesting video. It's like digital Sherlock, right? So he's gonna go and he's gonna figure it all out. And he did it. He now has a recreation of that chip, and he also found out something absolutely astounding about the super saw, which is here, we'll let him kind of
one night converting everything to C. And then he posted the results on our Discord channel, and we were like, wait, that's it? So, how does it work? It's 7 naive saw waves passed through an high-pass filter, which means that it's 7 counters, basically things that just count plus something every time. And just they are high-passed at the end. And one thing that is maybe a bit tricky, it's the table of coefficients, which are like the coefficient to detune the oscillators, which were done with integer math, so they're a bit hard to get right. There is no modulation, no phase trick, no chorus. And how did they make this sound good? Because this will alias. If everybody knows anything about audio, you can't just do a saw wave oscillator like this. Well, back then they were like, yeah, let's just run it double the sample rate. So the entire thing is running at 88.2 kilohertz. And then they're just outputting higher sample rate. And it does the job. Because
So they figured it all out. They broke open this synthesizer. And now you can download this shit for free. He went through, he did all the math. I mean, he has a team, him and his team, you know. But they went through and they busted open a circuit chip. And they looked at it. And they recreated every single little thing. They figured out where all the RAM goes. They figured out where all it puts stuff and how all the fucking shit works. They sat there. They did it. They just felt like doing it for the fucking love of the game. And they now have documented the entirety of that Roland chip. And you know what that means? And what's cool about this is this is where FPGA starts to come into play. Like you may have heard that before, like the field programmable gate array. So what those chips do is they are able to on the fly emulate what's going on here, right? What's going on in these little things. An FPGA can essentially turn itself. I'm vastly oversimplifying, okay, but what it can do is it can turn itself into an exact replica of these inputs and outputs on the hardware level. And so it can exactly replicate those things. So what this means is now we know how to replicate this chip that was impossible to do. We know how to do it. You could potentially create a repairable replacement chip if you wanted to go in and fucking do that, or figure out some way to route an FPGA to do those functions for you. And just like he said, it's always digital math. It's not pixie dust. And this is really cool because they saved this synthesizer essentially. Like no more, it's not magically locked to just, you know, those the JP8000 and the 8080. They figured it out. They just for the love of the game, they did it. They cracked it open. It's amazing. I keep saying it because it's so fucking impressive. And then you've got people like Rob Rosen saying like, no, modern synths will become doorstops. And I just, it bums me out because that's not the type of thing that you should be saying, Rob Rosen. Because like, like, man, it just like, come on, man, like you can do better. So like, yeah, I don't know. I've now talked for like, oh my gosh, so long. And let's see, did I make it through all the things I wanted to make it through? Nope, not even close. But I'm starting to like lose my voice. I'm starting to run out of steam, I guess you could say is more like it. But I've had said the things that I feel like saying about this thing. The reason I brought this up is because of another comment I'm like looking at. Sorry, I'm looking at this comment. I forgot to bring it up. Because also, let's take a look. Okay, so Alex Ball put out this. Alex Ball put out this
In the
video
middle section, we'll
yesterday
bring in the string
where he's just like,
station with
he's like, hey, let's make some. He's making this all with the Super
B. I'm
JD
going to use B,
990.
and it sounds like this.
I have all these same sounds. The JV 2080 is the same thing.
I'll then overdub
Anyways,
some.
this video is great. You have to listen to his Tekken thing because he's just like.
Next, we need some sequences. Firstly, I'm going to take this
The
oscillator
5080
sync
is
patch
cooler
and
version than
automate the
mine.
master.
Anyways, here's the end result. Bro, I could never. This is essentially all I want to do. But yeah, I'll have to stream more because this was fun and I keep forgetting. Anyways, I just wanted to whine about that thing that has been stuck in my brain for so long. And like, yeah. Anyways, like I said, I'm sure that the Rosen guy is just kind of doing it for marketing. And like, you know, he's just kind of like saying this stuff on the internet because it does, like, the thing is like it causes people to be scared and buy stuff and like I don't like that. Oh yeah. Anyways, Slopshy, go download those VSTs. They're amazing. Tactical MIDI, glad you liked. Proper, thanks again for the card and everything. Yeah, I am out of juice, so I'm gonna leave while I've still got it. And yeah, I'll catch y'all sometime soon. I still have many things to say, like corny things too. So many corny things. Sorry, let me just look at this list. Oh gosh, so many things. Okay, yeah. Well, maybe we'll see how tomorrow goes, and if maybe I'll do a Kalimba stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for now, it's bedtime. Bye-bye, everybody.